Okay, before we get started, how many of you have heard of SeaWorld?
Oh, yeah.
How many of you have visited or have wanted to visit SeaWorld in the past?
I think when I was little.
All right. Well, according to the SeaWorld of Hertz, the male lifespan of an orca living in the wild is between 60 to 70 years of age, and the lifespan of a female orca living in the wild is between 80 to over 100 years of age. In SeaWorld, the average age of death is just 14 years old. Not only does keeping orcas captive put their human trainers at risk, it is also extremely inhumane and should be put to an end. This topic is important to me because of my love for animals, and I feel that I should be educating other people on why keeping orcas and other animals captive should be stopped. Through my research, I have found 3 important reasons as to why keeping orcas in captivity for human entertainment is inhumane. First, they are drugged at SeaWorld. Next, they are imprisoned in small water cages. And third, the effects behaviorally and physically are terrible. Let's begin with the drugging of orcas at SeaWorld. Discovery News states that many orcas were medicated every single day of their lives to encourage the performance of tricks and cooperation under heavy sedation. John Hargrove, who worked at SeaWorld for 14 years, states that antipsychotics, antibiotics, and Valium were administered into the animals daily in order for them to cooperate, in order to perform certain tricks that are dangerous for the human trainers as well. Here is a picture of one of the tricks that is performed, showing just how dangerous it is for the human trainers. And how they do need to drug the animals in order to get them to cooperate so that it is less dangerous. Marine mammal scientist Naomi Rose concluded from her studies that keeping orcas locked in captivity results in many horrible conditions, and the solution that the veterinarians and the trainers found was just to medicate them so that they cooperate. The trainers explained that Valium was used to keep the animals calm in overly stressful situations that are really unnatural for wild animals to be kept in, proving that even the trainers know that this is inappropriate and should not be going on. John Hargrove explained that back in 2012, he would swim with one of the orcas named Val, and he could tell that Val did not know what was going on and would just swim aimlessly through the water around his tank, and he could tell that the drugs just made him have no idea what was going on. As Dr. Inger Visser states, a marine biologist who studied orcas specifically, the orcas have such a poor quality of life that most of the time they have no outward function because of being so heavily medicated. We have talked about orcas being drugged. Now let's consider the small water tanks that they are kept in. The tanks that orcas are kept in are unbelievably small. The orcas that are living in SeaWorld usually live in tanks that are no bigger than twice their length and width. According to One Green Planet, orcas often travel up to 100 miles a day, diving, hunting, and playing. This is what provides the adequate exercise that a marine animal does need and is not getting when they are kept in captivity. For better reference on how small the tanks are, let's consider the largest tank that they do have at SeaWorld. This tank is 35 feet deep, compared to the approximately 525-foot diving capability of orcas in the wild. So if you can imagine your whole life being lived in a bathroom in your house every day for your whole lifetime, that would cause a lot of different problems for somebody as well. According to One Green Planet, an orca would have to circle their tank over 1,900 times a day to get the same exercise and travel span that they do in the wild. We have talked about the size of the tanks and how orcas are heavily medicated. Now let's consider the psychological, physical, and behavioral effects of being kept in captivity. The effects of loneliness really take a toll on the orcas, and some of the problems that they have from being kept in captivity include aggression, biting, grabbing, and self-harm. You can see in this picture that the orcas will bite the concrete and the iron bars of their cage, and it will break their teeth off. The cramped quarters and extreme boredom are some of the problems that cause the biting of the concrete, and also you can see that their dorsal fin is most of the time collapsed. This is because of excessive time floating in the shallow waters compared to the ocean, unnatural sun exposure, and extreme boredom. So this is a picture of their collapsed dorsal fin, which you will normally see in the orcas at SeaWorld. As you can tell, these conditions are not suitable for any animal to be living in and should not be supported. The medication that the orcas are given, the small water cages, and the behavioral and psychological effects are just some of the reasons why SeaWorld should not be supported anymore. And as of just last year, 60 orcas have died at SeaWorld. So my question for you is, who still wants to visit SeaWorld?